peace and be in unity with each other, not just this council, but the council that is to come. Let there be a spirit of oneness, Lord, and we bind up the spirit of confusion and chaos and calamity, Lord God, and discord and all of those things that has caused so much confusion. And Lord, we thank you now that this city shall move with a oneness, oh God, in the name of Jesus. We thank you for the mayor, Lord God. We thank you for the constituents in this city. And Lord, we ask, oh God, that you begin to draw the people to be involved, Lord God, and know what's going on, that we might be one voice and be heard all over this nation. We thank you for this city. We give you the praise because we know if you do it, it is done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, I need a motion on the work session minutes from August 15th.
Mr. President, move for approval.
All in favor, raise your hand.
8 with one abstention.
I need approval of minutes for the August 15th regular session minutes, regular meeting.
Mr. President, move for approval.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
And I also need approval of the August 29th meeting.
Mr. President, move for approval.
All in favor, raise your hand.
7 with 2 abstentions.
All right. Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
well, I'll wait till after he finishes.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Glad you. Mr. President.
Go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead.
Mr. President, Council of the City of Montgomery, I would like to congratulate Mayor Reed on being selected the winning the Mayor of the Year award for 2023 from the National Business League, National Black Chamber of Commerce, and the World Conference of Mayors. Congratulations, Mayor.
Thank you to the council, and certainly, you know, as with anything, you know, an award like that doesn't come by yourself. It comes, you got a great team, great employees all throughout the city doing hard work, a lot of them doing work that's, you know, not always seen or appreciated. And so I don't know who nominated me for it, but I'll take it. It didn't last very long, but, you know, we're certainly grateful for the work I think that we've done from the administrative side to city and working with you guys on the council as well. That's the only way you get that type of recognition, because things are working for the benefit of the people. So I humbly accepted that. Councilor Calhoun, I appreciate you bringing that up. Mr. President, thank you for allowing me to bring that to the floor. And we'll continue to keep our heads down and keep the work going. So just want to say thanks to everybody.
Yeah.
Moving right along, it's going to be a short mayor's message today. You know, obviously we'll be talking about the budget here pretty soon, but right now we just want to thank all the residents for coming out to participate in this year's municipal elections. We have 40,340 ballots cast with about 29% voter turnout. So we're appreciative of everyone that came out to participate in that. We're certainly appreciative of all the council members that ran and new council members that will be coming on as well. We're looking forward to their ideas and their participation and what the residents of Montgomery have asked them to do and asked them to bring to the table here in the city of Montgomery. So we're grateful for that. We continue to be happy about the participation, and we also want to let folks know that there is a runoff that'll be coming up. Brenda, when is that date?
October 3rd.
October the 3rd, Tuesday, October the 3rd, in City Council District 4. So we want to remind everyone there is one more race to be run, and so we look forward to everybody that's running in that race as well, and we give them kudos for offering themselves up. And that goes for all the candidates, regardless of, you know, where they came in or how many votes. It takes a lot of effort to run for public office, and you got to have some thick skin to run, as I said before. regardless. And so we're appreciative of that. And we look forward to moving right ahead with the work of the city, and we'll continue to do that both now through this budget season and through when those new council members are sworn in November. So thanks a lot, and we'll continue to do the business of the people. Now, with that said, we'll get right to this, and that is we've got some World Series champions. We've honored some of them for going to the World Series, and we're grateful to have 3 Dixie Youth baseball teams with us tonight, each of whom now proudly represent Montgomery as World Series champions. Let's give them a round of applause. We've got the Montgomery American 6 and under, the AUM 11 and 12 and under, Division I, Ozone, and we've got Southeastern 11 and under. The players and coaches worked hard all summer, put in long hours and committed to excellence. In return, they are now Dixie Youth Baseball World Series champions. We're honored to celebrate their success, and while this is also a moment to highlight our partnership with Dixie Youth Baseball and recommit the city to embracing youth sports and ensuring we're doing all we can to support young athletes here in the city of Montgomery. And with that, if Dixie Youth Baseball Alabama State Director Ricky Fatcheros, and District 5 Director Randy Fatcheros will join us. Are you guys here? All right, that's okay. We're gonna call each team up to receive their proclamations and take a photo with the mayor and the city council. And we'll start with Montgomery American. Please join us at the front when Griffith Waller calls your name. And at this time, we'll ask Griffith, you'll come on up and call out the names of everyone.
Yes, sir. And we gave you 4 hands, and we're just going to do a photo and a handshake. And teams, when you come up, when we call your name, if you'll just come up, we're going to do a photo and a handshake and kind of go from there. And so with Montgomery American, we'd like to recognize manager Joey Oswald, Coach Matt Hellman, Coach Jared Kelly, and Coach Jeremy Nolan. If you all go ahead and come up here. And then I know some of our students may have had extracurricular activities, but we're going to call the folks who are here, Trot Ashmore, Cole Chambliss, Rhodes Howman, Isaiah Henn, Watkins Kelly, Fitch Litchfield, Sam Manus, Hamp Nolan, Burke Oswald, Jay Sermon, Shepard Stevens, and Jackson Welsh. And if we have any fans or friends of the team, feel free to come on up close as you can and take a photo. And then we have one more team. We have our Southeastern 11 and under. Mike, if you can go to the Southeastern baseball slide. And again, we'll go ahead and start with our managers and coaches. Manager Brian Bernier, Jeremy Vinson, and Scott Haynes. You're gonna come on up here. And then we'll call out our players. We have Nash Barganier, Tyler Bernier, James Brooks, Joe Colvin IV, Sean Cox, Hampton Haynes, Eric Hornman, Wayne Hornman, Alan Powell, Tripp Searcy, Brooks Vinson, Gage Vinson, and Henry Vinson. Congratulations.
Again, we want to thank all the coaches and parents for their time they put in with Dixie Youth Baseball. We know again that it takes everybody to make that happen. We want to thank all the council members who supported this endeavor through contributions as well, and thank the rest of the community for supporting them too. So there's no financial report this evening. We'll save that for the next meeting. So with that, Mr. President, we'll turn it over to you and we'll continue with the council meeting. Thank you for the opportunity. Oh, that's right. Sorry about that. There's recognition from the Montgomery Police Department. I'll let Chief Alford come and address the council and the body that's here.
Thank you for giving me a moment. Thank you to Council, Mr. Mayor. You know, back on June 30th, we lost Officer Carlos Taylor, a loss from in the line of duty death. And the city, the council, Mayor Reed and his administration, and everyone in the city gave an outpouring of support to the Taylor family. And today, right here with me is members of the Taylor family, from his grandmother to other dear relatives. And we're here to present, you know, a few things to them on behalf of organizations around the country. We said then, and we meant it then, and we do now, that we didn't forget his death. It was not in vain, and that we'll do all we can to continue to support this family. So we have some financial contributions, one from the Community Foundation of Northeast Alabama up in Anniston. I won't talk about the amounts, but that's one financial donation. We have one from the United States Deputy Sheriff's Association from Wichita, Kansas, and we have another one from the International Justice and Public Safety Network. All three of these organizations came together and made financial contributions to this family to help ease the pain just a little bit. So on behalf of the Taylor family, I just want to say thank you to those individuals, thank you to this council, thank you to Mr. Mayor and his administration, and this entire community for supporting this family as you have. In addition to that, we have a shadow box that was created, and it's Officer Taylor's hat, his badge, his name, and a fine. You all right, Mom? Yeah, and a photo. And we're going to present this to the entire family as well. And then there's some gifts that folks just continue to drop off to us over at the police station. The cards, I think we had thousands of cards that came in, and each one was responded to with a thank you on behalf of the Taylor family. So again, the outpouring of support is continuing. I want to thank everybody for that. And again, to the Taylor family, we are here, as we said, to support you as you grieve. Officer Taylor's passing. So thank you very much.
Mr. President, I'll turn it back over to you at this time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm gonna shake that. Huh? Okay, I thought it's something she wanted to bring up, okay. Okay, any special committee reports? We have a public communication roster of agenda items, and I'll call on you as the item comes up. First item, Madam Clerk?
Mr. President, item 1, review of the city service line warranty program.
I know this was brought up, I believe this is, Mr. Johnson, Ms. Johnson was handling this one tonight.
Mayor, have we implemented this program?
Do you know about this program, Mayor?
I thought we had already passed this program. You all had already passed a resolution.
We
to move
did pass
forward.
it, but I don't know that it's been done.
That part I don't
Have you
know.
had any reaction from anybody?
I have not. Sorry.
Well, have you, John, anybody on the council had any reaction? I mean,
Hold on one second, Mr. President.
Eddie, you know about it? Ms. Johnson, we're on number 1.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Council. So we had a hold-up, Mayor, but I just had a conversation, and we're going to get it cleared up because we were missing some approvals. But we'll get that cleared up and get it launched on tomorrow, and we can, Brenda, put this back on the agenda for 6 months after we do the approval and launch the marketing plan.
Okay?
6 months from.
So we'll give it a month so we can push it out. So,
Carry it over a month?
yes.
Yeah, 30 days,
Okay.
1 month. Okay.
Item number 2, resolution to obligate funding to Jackson Hospital to mitigate the negative impact of the pandemic.
Need a motion?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Mrs. Johnson, are you voting?
Yes.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 3, resolution to obligate funding to Baptist Hospital to mitigate the negative impact of the pandemic.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 4, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as South Decatur Food Mart, 843 South Decatur Street.
We've already had the public hearing on this one. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's a motion. Need a motion on this item?
Motion to approve.
Matt, you will speak on item 4?
Well,
You don't have to.
you don't have to speak.
No, you don't have to.
We'll call on you if we need you. Got a motion?
Yep, motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay.
Item 5, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning 1926 Walnut Street from an O1 district to a V2Q district.
This is a public hearing. Who's handling this item? Somebody planning department handling this item for me?
I think Mr. Adams is here.
Huh?
Mr. Adams is
Mr.
here.
Adams, okay, Mr. Adams. When you come over, you,
This was an application for a rezoning from an O1 office zoning district to a B2Q commercial qualified, and the rezoning was approved and it was restricted to a daycare only.
okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held as proper for the council. Need a motion?
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve. All in favor, raise your hand.
Ms. Johnson, are you
It's a-
unanimous? I'm sorry. The ordinance is adopted.
Okay, very good. Next
Item
item.
6, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning 2601 to 2611 Woodley Park Drive from an O1 district to a B2Q district.
Okay. Got nobody signed up. Okay, need a motion? Yes, sir. Mr. Adams?
Only if you have any questions.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone
Mr.
like to-
President,
Yes,
got a question for you. I received a call from the owner of this establishment that they are trying to do something different now. So I would like to see this carried over.
okay. I mean, have a public hearing. We have a public hearing. Anybody like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It will be carried over, what, 2 weeks, 4 weeks? 2 weeks, okay?
Item 7, public hearing on the proposed ordinance amending the fiscal year 2023 operating a debt service budget and adopting the fiscal year 2024 operating a debt service budget.
This is a public hearing. I don't see anybody signed up for this. My list. Not unusual.
Most important thing.
Well, no one signed up for it, and this will go into a special meeting of the City Council at 4 o'clock on September the 13th here in these chambers, which the council will review the budget and make any adjustments we need, and it'll be voted on in the meeting of the 19th. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next item.
Item 9, resolution declaring American Christian Heritage Month.
Mr. Lyons,
Anybody want to speak on this?
I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this. It's not a public hearing.
No?
No, it's not a public hearing, so we go, it's just resolution, and we need to make a decision on that. You want to carry it over?
I think I just want to
Huh?
just hold a vote on it.
Legal,
It needs to go,
Mr. President.
let's carry it over for 2 weeks, let's talk about what we're going to do, okay? Well, I don't think anybody's ready to vote on this afternoon, because a lot of questions come up, especially mine, because how many flags are there out there to be we're voting on? And we're voting on one, but we're fixing to open the gates are going to come in with more flags, so we got a problem. So,
Can we give him a minute?
yeah, you, come on up, Mr. Green.
Good evening, everybody, and Mayor, City Council. First of all, thank you for allowing me to speak on this issue. We're asking for the month of September, and as you know, this is September. If you carry it over for 2 weeks, if there's any questions or anything that you all would like to ask, I understand that some people are concerned that if you allow this flag, you may have to allow a lot of other flags, but I would say that the reason why I am here is because it is already open, and I'm here asking for the same rights and those considerations as other citizens to be able to voice our feeling for the Christian flag also. So it's not a new issue. We're not opening up. All we're doing is coming in behind what's already been set. The president has already been set for flags flying, and all we're asking for as citizens and Christians to be able to fly our flag, to be able to give them the same consideration. We came 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago before the election, and you all said that you all were going to vote for it today. So I would appreciate if you all would go ahead and vote today, and so that we can at least get it at least the last 2 weeks of this month. We're asking for September. If you don't do it now, then of course it'll be next year. So we'd like to at least try to get it in at least the last 2 weeks of this month. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Lyons?
All right, move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. President.
Six,
Mr. President.
Hold your hands up just a minute.
Mr. President.
Hold it down.
This is
Yeah.
legal speaking.
Yeah.
Legal has some issues with this particular resolution. Again, as the speaker pointed out, it does present problems. In fact, if we acknowledge this one flag, we may find ourselves in a position we have to acknowledge other flags. Case law is not clear. In fact, case law to some degree is against us. For example, if the Sons of Confederate Veterans wanted to have Confederate Heritage Month authorized, how do we respond to them that no, you cannot fly your banners when we've allowed other recognized groups worthy of the ability to fly their flag?
If I may respond, sir.
We're concerned it's a Pandora's box without clear legal precedent that may find us involved with litigation down the road that we don't want to be involved in.
If I may respond, you're right. Actually, the case law is very clear. In Shurtleff versus City of Boston, there was a 9-0 decision on the Supreme Court where they ruled that this was not government speech. It was, since it was a public forum, they ruled in favor of flying this very same flag. And that decision came down from the Supreme Court 9-0 May of this year. So it's not anything that you all were going to be sued. And he's right. It could open up other flags being flying. And I understand that concern, and that's something that you all could probably address with an ordinance. However, it is already open at this particular point the same way that Boston had opened up their flags for the public place. Therefore, based on the decision of Shurtleff versus City of Boston, 9-0 by the Supreme Court, I don't think you all are going to have any problem with that. However, you can do what other cities have done, which is pass an ordinance that the only flags that will be flown in the City Hall will be city, state, or county, or whatever flag, and to fly no other flag. But right now, as it stands now, law and precedent is on our side at this moment.
I stand to be corrected, but I believe the Boston City Council or their governing body had passed an ordinance allowing for certain flags. And the issue was whether or not they could exclude others, wherein they had allowed some. Did they have to allow others? I'm not well versed in the case at this exact moment, other than in those very general terms. We passed this resolution. We are on that path.
Well,
Again, where this city council has determined that we're going to allow this particular flag to fly, as opposed to the flag of, again, let me pick on the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Let me pick any number of other worthwhile, unworthwhile organizations. We have set the precedent that we would allow it. Perhaps the best course of action for this council would simply to be to, just as he suggested, let's adopt an ordinance that restricts the use of city flag poles and light poles and other items within the city right-of-way to the flying of the American, state, and county city flags. Then our flagpoles are not subject to being utilized by, this is not a criticism of this particular group. Please let me be very, very clear, by any means. I'm concerned, though, and legal is concerned, though, with other groups that are not as meritorious, but who may wish to voice their opinions by virtue of their flags on the public poles, and thereby make the stand or the view to the world that Montgomery supports their organization in such the same way as Montgomery may well support this organization.
I'll agree with you. Sorry, go ahead.
I would argue that the door's already been opened, even though there's been no ordinance talking about what you said. It's been opened through the executive branch by allowing it. What was out in June, and then on the fountain. If anything, it needs to be across the board that nothing is displayed on city property. But, in respectful argument, what you're saying, the door is open. This is not opening the door. It's already been opened.
This would open the door, but this would be a legislative act that opens a door. Whatever the executive issue to which you refer, that took place. It was done in the absence of any ordinance of any kind. But now we're being asked to set forth, this is a resolution to allow the flying of a specific flag, a specific banner. And it's asking for legislative action to that degree. And thus, once done by the legislature, it has to be done by all, for every group. Essentially.
If I may speak, sir.
Sure.
What was held by the Supreme Court in the Supreme Court opinion was that the Boston flag raising program does not express government speech. So this is not a function that the city is making government speech. What it's basically saying is that this is a public space. The flag is now, by executive action, been determined to be a public space. And as members of the public, we are only asking for the same consideration in that public space. So therefore, the city will not be held to say, hey, this is what we support. So it's not considered by the Supreme Court as you all are saying that. So
Fully, I
it basically
understand.
said because the flag raising program did not express government speech.
Mr. President,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
President, let me intercede just a little bit. Respect Mr. Green and his passion for the topic. Mr. Green is not an attorney. The legal counsel has given us advice in terms of how we should proceed. He didn't say not to do it. He actually gave you a way to do it, with which to have further discussion before we move forward on this. I would hesitate for us to adopt this in light of what legal has said, and I had not talked with him before this meeting, knowing that what the ripple effect could be, much less what the legal impact could be. If you want me to be more candid, I'm more concerned about what the legal impact can be, as much as I am what the other groups that may want to come forward with this. So I would ask that the body carry this over to have further discussion, and we sit down with leadership, we sit down with the council, and we hear from our city attorney on this, where things stand, hear what Mr. Green has presented. That's his interpretation of that. We have not, reviewed that case. Judge Price has not advised me of that case either as well. And so I would ask that it be carried over, given what the city attorney has just recommended to us.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Council, I would ask and suggest that we put this in committee in government affairs and create the ordinance that we need to ensure that we're abide by policy.
We all raised our hands. And
Yeah, that's what I'm
do a motion
thinking.
to adopt.
6-3.
Mr.
So
President,
the vote is being
There's
recorded.
6-3 approval, so.
You got 6-3.
Or the
six.
We've already voted,
Or the
right?
6 that
Yes.
voted for it are going to reverse
Yes,
the
sir,
vote.
you have. I just need to know how 3, 5, and 6 voted, whether they voted no or whether they abstained.
I'm voting no.
Same.
Same.
I mean, we talked
Okay,
about
so we
Yeah.
got 3
about putting
no's.
this in committee, and if we agree on doing something because we
At
get
this
this
point,
legal.
you
Yeah, I
need to
understand
make
what the vote has been made.
At this point, you'll have to make a motion to reconsider it,
and I'm not
if you
in-
want to do something else with it, because you had a majority vote
So,
positive.
okay. Vote's over. Okay. Carry forward.
Okay, thanks. So I guess we'll give you all to coordinate the flying of the flag.
No, it got to be signed, and then you can-
Thank you.
Let me
You
sign
have a
with the
nice
mayor.
day.
Mayor goes up. Okay, next item.
So y'all letting the resolution
next
stay
item.
adopted?
What,
The resolution is adopted.
right.
Mr.
Item
President,
10,
well, it's-
No, go back to it, CC. Go ahead.
President, I need to speak on this, and I mean, we voted on this, and I don't know if we can reconsider this. I think I
We
would
can.
advise this council to reconsider. We
We
pay
can.
a legal to give us legal advice
That's
on
right.
what we're doing. We're going on emotions. This guy just sat here and told us what kind of ramification would we have, and we want to go with something. Mr. Lyons is putting his on. Mr. Lyons is on his way. He's leaving, and so we putting this on this and going against what our legal counsel telling us to do. That don't make any sense.
I've read the same case. and-
Mr. President.
and My
Yes, sir.
interpretation is different.
And what I don't like, we agreed that we was gonna put this in committee.
Committee.
We agreed that we was gonna put this in committee and we was gonna talk about it, then we put it to a vote. Mr. President, that's just not right. We agreed as a body that we walked and agreed that this was going into committee. Then we bring it up and say, hey, now we wanna vote on it. That's not right, Mr. President.
Bring it up, reconsider.
I would like to reconsider the vote, Mr. President.
someone on the prevailing side has to make the motion. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, or 9 has to make the motion.
I mean,
Mr. President, I just tell you, it will be a short meeting because we will not suspend any rules today.
We need, somebody need to make a move, have to make a move somewhere. Nobody got to move? Okay. All right, move on. We go home. All right, number 10.
Resolution authorizing amendment to contract to contract with Revertech Legal and Consulting for an additional term not to exceed 12 months.
Have a motion, new business, okay?
No, sir, this is still old business.
So, okay, I'm sorry. Need a motion to approve? Need a motion?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
move for approval.
Motion to adopt, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous, resolution is adopted. Item 11, application for a rental hall event center doing business as BG's Event Center, 3447 McGee Road, Unit O.
Need a motion?
Mr. President, move for approval.
Okay. All in favor, raise your hand.
8. Mr. Grimes, are you abstaining?
Good luck with your business.
Good afternoon, Mayor and the City Council. My name is Larry Webb. I'm representing Brittany for the BG.
You're good.
We
You're
already
good.
voted.
You've already done it.
You're good to go.
Your vote's done.
It's good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you're good.
Item 12, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Z-Mart, 1100 Ann Street.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous, resolution is adopted. Item 13, ordinance amending section 18-175 of the Code of Ordinances, prohibited acts in the noise ordinance.
Hey, Mr. Mitchell? 13? We carry it over? We're going to carry it over. Okay, carry it over. Number 14,
Review of Aura Lounge, 5480 Atlanta Highway.
Representative of Aurora Lounge here. Yes, sir.
Did I need to speak?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Good evening to the, good evening. My name is Terrence Caffey. Good evening to the mayor, Councilman Grimes. We're here, we got notice about a review of the business license. Did I need to speak because I didn't know
Mr. Caffey, are you the owner of the bar?
No, sir, I'm the manager.
Okay, TriStar owns it. Is it TriStar?
Yes, sir.
Who owns TriStar?
There are two gentlemen, they are here as well.
Come on up, guys.
Okay.
I think we've had a ton of calls out there.
Yes, sir.
I got calls over the weekend. I realize it's probably not from your bar, but that appears to be the hub of this confusion, because when we're shut down, we didn't have these problems. So, guys, it's got to get better, or we got to do something different. The music's blasting in Mountain View, Caravilla. They're getting blasted out at 3 in the morning. So we got to get better than that. I mean, this is not working. Just a couple of things. When Mr. Reddy, you guys bought it from Mr. Reddy, correct? All right. We were supposed to put the cameras connecting to the Star Watch system. Are they hooked? Are their cameras hooked up with you guys? Do you know? Yeah.
They were under our original Star Watch program, but not under the new format that we use with Fuses.
They're not?
Correct.
I don't think that's our doing.
What, sir?
I said, I don't think that's our doing. I thought we were still under the Star Watch, because when the officers came out one time before, there was an accident a couple of weeks ago right on the corner of Atlanta Highway and going onto the Eastern Boulevard. They wanted to see the cameras. I alerted them that we were set up on the Star Watch, and I think they took a look at them. I thought they did.
These guys run the system, so they're not. It's not on there.
How can we get connected back?
They will hit with them when we get out of here.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. How about your security there? Reddy
sir.
had security in the parking lot.
Yes, sir. We keep at all times anywhere from 10 to 15 guards. We've been in close contact. I think he's the third shift supervisor, and he's talked with our security. We've spoken with him. Now, he did mention about a month ago that, everything was calm because we were constantly calling units out. We have a meeting sponsored by Councilman Mitchell that we attend each month. So we're able to, like, if people started congregating. There was a lot of car clubs and things. They started off over there where like Rock and Jump is. It seems like they moved over to our parking lot since we are open and have things going on. But we do call in as soon as we notice they're congregating, and we go out and ask them and pursue them and ask them to move. A lot of times they're kind of combative, and we do send the security
people
out there.
in the parking lot are combative?
Yes, sir. You know, they're refusing to leave. They're out there drinking. So at that point, we want to remove them. They won't leave. That's when I call in, and you will probably see through the 911 records that we do call and say, hey, we request maybe someone just to move some of the people out of the parking lot because they're congregating.
Okay. There were a couple of videos. We do not have them here, but there were a couple of fights that broke out that people put on their thing and put on Facebook, and some poor guy's laid out and still getting kicked, and he's knocked out. Do you guys aware of that?
We were aware. That was an instance that happened a couple of months ago, and security was trying to get there, and what happened is they bumped into a guy. The guy became combative with security, so he tried to stop security from getting there. They had to handle that situation, and finally, if you did see the entirety of the video, security makes it in to stop that situation. We try to keep everyone as safe as possible. We keep security guards in stationed areas throughout the building at all times. So when things do come on, we have the people alert, we cut on all the lights, we get people there as fast as possible to ensure everybody's safety.
Okay. How many calls have we been at?
Since May 3rd of 2022, we've had well over 100 calls for service to that location.
I do ask, because we do go over the calls each meeting that we have each month in the sub-council meeting, what have you. A lot of those will be from me, as far as their alarm calls, as far as people, we asking them to come out, clear the parking lot, because usually because there are so many people there, we immediately call a lot of times as soon as we're getting ready to close to get them to go ahead and clear that parking lot out, because there's just a lot of congregating and loitering going on.
Councilman Grimes, the issue for us is it's a drain on our resources at night when we're having to constantly bring a large amount of police officers to the parking lot to break up these congregations. There's the calls for service, only 13 of them are alarm calls. 73 of them are just us having to respond for various incidents. We've had shots fired calls, subject with a gun calls, fights in progress, traffic calls, people doing donuts and stuff in the parking lot, damage to property, suspicious person calls, vehicle burglaries. So all of these calls for service are requiring a lot of resources, a lot of response from the police officers. We're having to send detail units over there at night, and we could have them in other areas of town. So it's just a big drain on our resources when we're consistently having to go to the same location night after night on the weekends when we're at our busiest time.
I don't doubt it, because I heard we had 10 or 12 units out there the other night. Is that correct?
A lot of them did respond. I would ask Councilman, and this is something that we've been asking for the past couple of years now since we established a little sub meeting, if we could get one officer, and they don't have to station. If a lot of times when we call the officers, what happens is the officer will come, he'll ride through the parking lot. I think if the officer would just say, hey, the owners want you to leave the parking lot, they'll leave. They'll respect police officers, but when the security guard goes out, and even if he has a weapon on him, they don't respect them because they're out there and they have more weapons or whatever they have going on. And it's almost like my friends against your friends versus we're law enforcement, we're security, and you are on our property. So all we're left to do is, hey, leave our property. We don't want you here. And after that, if we go out and pursue them, if we get into an altercation with them, I really don't know how that'll turn out. The only instance is call the police and say, hey, we need your help. Can you get these people to leave our property?
Chief, how do we get these people out of the parking lot? I'm trying to be fair to everybody here, but we got these people in the parking lot, may or may not be part of their bar. How can we run them off? Because they keep coming back. I know I see the realtor here, and we tried to gate this parking lot off, and one of the tenants wouldn't allow us. So we need to do, guys, you're not getting off scot-free, but we've got to figure out what we can do here, because we're ruining the quality of life from everybody with 2 miles of that bar. It's terrible. I'm getting calls from all over. And so we're ruining the neighborhood's quality of life.
Yes, sir.
So if I had to rule anything, I'd shut you down if I thought I'd get rid of the bar. I will say this, when y'all were closed, we didn't have any problems in the parking
But
lot.
they were at the U bar or the Velvet Room.
Well, they weren't there. So, I mean, so we got to do something with it.
Yes,
Chief,
I
we
asked
got any
if we could
ideas how we
work
get rid of these
together
people?
to do
Not
anything.
necessarily these people, the guys in the parking lot. What can we do to get rid of them?
Well, one option that they do have is to start trespassing those who aren't patrons of the business, who are in the parking lot for illegitimate reasons, or who aren't patronizing the bar. If they're willing to sign warrants on them, we can start putting them in jail on our end. But it's a private property, it's a private parking lot. As far as the person trespassing at night, then they would have to be, or the realtor, somebody on behalf of the business or the owner of the parking lot, would have to be willing to go sign warrants on those who are not patronizing the business. but just hanging out in the parking
So the
lot.
property owner's got to sign, we can't run them out of the parking lot for just parking there and make
long-
blasting noise?
Somebody as a representative of the business needs to trespass the people, yes.
So if they're blasting music at 2 in the morning in the back of their car, and we can hear it from 3 miles, we can't do anything about it.
That's different, then that would be a noise ordinance violation, that's a ticketable offense. As far as an arrestable offense, it would be trespassing. If they're just hanging out in the parking lot, the business would have to trespass them to say, hey, they're not allowed to hang out here.
And Councilman, that's the noise issue there. It's not the building. It's when you have those cars out there booming those speakers, that's what's causing disturbance as far as, and I know that it's because we're equating that to them visiting our business, but they're out there booming that music, it's shaking the building, and we have music going on in there. Maybe if they would get those people, because that is a violation of the law. True as it is, that's a noise ordinance violation, and even if they're on private property, can you?
But we've got, it's got to get better, and I don't know how we do it, because he said it firmly. We're draining the city's resources. We got 10 or 12 cops out there. We can't do that every week.
We can't afford this kind of business.
I agree, Charlie.
I mean, it's costing us so much money with police officers. You can't give us enough revenue back to pay for all that. I mean, we don't need you. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, we don't need you in Montgomery. You need to go somewhere else where because we can't afford you to be here. You know, I can't tax you high enough to pay all this stuff. And I had to change the tax code to do it. I mean, it's gotten totally out of control. And so until the private property owner and whoever owns this piece of property takes control of it, we need it all off. I just soon have a goat farm there.
I have a question for you. So the gentleman behind you own the building, right? Can they come up?
They own the business, or they don't own the building.
Who own the building?
A gentleman from Birmingham owns the
Who's
building.
responsible for the building?
He's not
We
here.
need whoever it is, that man needs to.
Well,
he
let me
needs to
ask this
take
question.
over, get it out.
Is there a way that you're able to enclose your parking area? Is that an option? Because then that way you can, see if they're coming in your business or not. If they're not, they can be asked to leave, and then if they're parking other empty space, and then it won't be your problem at least. Then it'd be up to Krispy Kreme to figure out who over there at the city trend.
Yes, ma'am. And the only thing, and we consider, the only thing that I thought of is that will put more problem on the city. Because if I just section off my area and say this is all I'm responsible for, and people are just congregating, and they're congregating on city trends, parking lot, and everyone else, and these people are closed, they aren't even open for business, that's gonna put more responsibility on you all, and you all have to deal with it. We're trying to help and go out there, and like the supervisor said, when I spoke with him, he said the weeks that he sat out there, he said he had 1 or 2 units sent out there. And he said nothing happened during those weeks. He said, well, sir, I can't afford to bring a lot of resources and just keep them here and wait on something to happen. So we had to start moving and doing other things. Like I say, if we can just get one to come through constantly every now and then or something. There was a detail that was established from what I understand when we were talking in the other meetings that does it on the weekends that ride around. Honestly, none of the other night spots that are this age group are doing anything. Everyone is coming there. So that's why everything is going on, because everyone is coming there right now. When all the things happen with the U-Bar and the Velvet Room, They just ran them away from there and ran them to this place. And now we have it here. So what's gonna happen is, I mean, I wanna be proactive in trying to stop the problem, not just because we have a business to represent, but it's gonna go from place to place to place in Montgomery, unless you do something with the people that are doing these things or try to control them or regulate it. And that's what we wanna try to help do, because we're concerned about it too. We don't want the neighborhood complaining. We don't like the noise out there any more than they do. And we're trying to stop it, but my security guards, I mean, sometimes they get in serious danger, and I can't tell them. They got to go home to their families as well. And I know that we talked about the police and the insurance issue as far as them being able to help us and protect us, but it's like we're in a tough situation. That's why we want the dialogue with you guys to try to help us to understand what can we do, because these people are almost like they're taking over our property. They're not even in there. They're not even patrons. They're just loitering.
Councilman Grimes, we have a short PowerPoint that will kind of show you what we're talking about from our perspective. Mike,
Okay.
go through it real quick.
Roll it, Mike.
Can we put this in a committee?
No, I don't care. 2 weeks and we pass it.
Okay.
What you got? All that.
So as you can see, from May 3rd, 2022 through August 31st, 2023, these are the 114 calls for service to that location. Next slide. These are some of our recent calls for service, and they're increasingly violent. As you'll notice, this was a discharging into an occupied vehicle that occurred in the parking lot. Officers responded to active gunfire in the parking lot. They saw a subject driving a black Chevy Tahoe. Anyway, we ended up getting several guns out of that vehicle. We did have a victim whose vehicle was shot into in that instance. Next slide. This one's a vehicle that was broken into on the 12th. Again, officers responded to that location in reference to a vehicle being broken into. A gun was stolen out of the car in that instance. Next slide. This is another vehicle that was broken into on August 5th. Another gun stolen out of the vehicle. It was an AR-15 rifle. Next slide. Again, another vehicle that was broken into July 21st, and this one, another gun stolen out of the vehicle. Next slide. These are a couple times where patrol units, the detail he referenced, had to respond out there. As a result, we did 5 noise ordinance and 16 citations. But again, it was a drain on our resources. We had to allocate all those units to that specific area during that detail. Again, on July 15th, those detail units responded again. Again, we had to issue several citations. We had FD 57 come and inspect the club, and it had to be shut down as it was over capacity. Next slide. This is a supervisor's opinion of their view from the club from the weekend of Friday, July 14th through July 16th, and all the problems that they encountered while in the club. And then the next couple slides you'll see are some of the video shot from the body cameras of the officers that were present there. And you can see that's the entire parking lot of that entire complex, all the way from Big Lots down. It was just full of vehicles. And you can continue to go through those slides. It's going to be similar video. Again, these are officer body cameras of what they encountered when they responded to that location. And this is what we're receiving as feedback. And Captain Champlin can explain what he observed this weekend.
So I'm Captain Champlin, I'm the traffic commander, and I worked the detail this weekend for 4 hours. And I'm gonna tell you, 4 hours of 4 hours we spent in this parking lot. And it was full from the minute I got there at 10:30 until we had to forcibly go in there and shut it down because we had a call of the subject with a gun inside the club. And I believe a firearm was recovered. And so the problem we're seeing with parking is the establishment employees are doing absolutely nothing to control parking. They're parking on their own and coming in. It's difficult to get emergency vehicles close to the business, ambulance, fire, or police, because as you saw, they're parking any kind of which way they can in the parking lot. I think one possible solution would be if you could hire some folks to wear reflective vests, and as they come into your parking lot, like we do at other large events, you park them. You park them where you want them, and your people make sure they come into the club, and that'll help us as police identify who's coming in the club, who's parked, and who's not. I think that might be one solution to discuss. We've got to have some more help in the parking lot. Listen, it's a lot more than 1 or 2 officers. Yeah. Every time I work this overtime detail, it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus police officers that like Captain Williams said, can't go anywhere else in the city and do anything. We had a woman who was hit on Carmichael Road about the time that we're dealing with this, and we couldn't get any of my traffic officers there fast enough because we're clearing out parking lot. And that's what we're dealing with.
How many arrests have you made in those parking lots? Have you made arrests in there?
So I'm not sure exactly how many arrests, because when we're responding to that parking lot, it's so full, immediately people are going to start moving and everything. So
Well, I know that there are people that have rent property, big stores in there, that they're fed up, and I think it's time to do something. This thing's got to go. It just, we can't put up with this kind of junk. And I'm ready to, whatever we got to do to get it out of here, we got to get it out. We can't live with this stuff. I mean, you're sitting there with 10 police officers, you can't take care of other calls. I mean, the money you spent, the money to create this, my God, you know? We're spending money right over, I mean, it's ridiculous what it's costing us to deal with y'all. So, as far as I'm concerned, close up and leave, okay?
All right. Yeah, no.
That is one of the things that we did discuss, as far as maybe, and if we could do the barricades and maybe check people in, because like I said, no one is open during those hours. So I don't think any of the other patrons in the shopping center would maybe have an issue with that, if that was a possibility. And that way, if we could just say, we would have to find a way where we can make sure that they are coming in and not loitering.
Well, let's give them 2 weeks to find a way, and then we got to have a deadline on this thing, okay? 2 weeks to get this thing worked out.
Ms.
By
Blaylock
then,
put it on show cause hearing for 2 weeks.
we can talk about all day long, but this is expensive to deal with.
You'll have to adopt a resolution setting a show cause hearing, so I
We can do it.
I
Get
will
it.
have the resolution at the next meeting.
Okay, all right, you good?
So we have to adopt a resolution today or next meeting?
Yes, sir, we'll have to adopt a resolution setting a show cause hearing to give them due process.
Okay.
So it'll be a month before they can come back for a show.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mr.
All right,
President.
guys, go ahead.
Yes, go
Mr.
ahead.
President, just one question for the council. And I guess my question is, how much authority do they have over Big Lot? If I'm sitting in Big Lot and not in their parking lot, are their security guards supposed to go into Big Lots and say, hey, y'all in Big Lots parking lot, y'all must leave, y'all in Krispy Kreme? And I guess that's the gray area. How much of the parking lot, if they just have that one area, how much of the parking lot do they actually postal control? And that's the question. My thing is, and we always bring the managers, but you know, the same thing with the owners of Big Lot. I go by there every
Owner of the property owns his property. If he wants it to stay open and receive rent, he needs to get it cleaned up.
and I guess that's the problem. We're not bringing the owners.
No,
we're bringing the managers. And I just want to make sure we understand.
They're making money and laughing at us. So.
Yeah. So that's what we need to do.
Okay. 2 weeks, we're going to bring it up for a show cause, and then if we do that, we're going to do a couple more. We need them off that parking lot, period. Okay.
Guys, y'all got 2
2 weeks,
weeks.
show cause.
Work with
okay?
Captain.
Good deal. I'm going to pass it. You gonna pass it or not? Oh, she's got to go? Carry it over. Carry it over. Marcia. Oh, we got to read. All right. Madam Clerk, I want to reconsider item number 9.
Have you passed the gavel to Mr.?
Yes, sir, he's got it.
Pass the gavel to him, okay?
I think we've opened ourselves a bit, I know we're all Christians, we all want to be supportive of the Christian flag, but we got a bigger problem than that, and we don't want to get ourselves in a situation where we've got legal issues we got to deal with. So I'd like to motion to reconsider number 9.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
It's going to be 6. Are y'all voting no, 1 and 2?
All opposed?
Are y'all abstaining or no? 1 and 2, are you abstaining or no?
Abstain. Okay.
Mr. Lyons, are you abstaining or no? Abstain?
He's
I can't
voting no,
hear you.
he's voting no.
You're a no, and Mr. Grimes, you're abstain?
Yes, ma'am.
And then how you got me down?
6, 1, and 1.
Okay.
down, Ms. Blaylock.
I have, everybody voted yes
I did
except
not
for,
raise my hand.
you did not raise your hand.
So 5-1-1-1.
It's going to be 5. Are you voting no or abstaining?
I'm voting no.
No? We've
All
got
right.
2 noes, 1 abstained, and 1 absent. So the motion
Back
to
on the floor.
reconsider carries.
Back on the floor. Now, I'd like to make a motion to carry this over 2 weeks for amended resolution.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Okay.
Unanimous
Got your vote?
for an amended resolution.
Good. Okay, next item?
You're requesting an amended resolution?
Yeah,
Are you
I'll
gonna
work
get-
with you on that.
We're gonna
We'll
work
get,
with
I'll
you.
get, I'll get something with Brantley, we'll get something done.
Okay, okay.
Okay, item number 15.
Okay, so he's passing the gavel back to you.
I've got the gavel back.
Just a second. Item number 15, ordinance amending ordinance number 50-2019, section 2. Council rules of procedure for work session to begin at 3:30 p.m. on the first and the third Tuesdays.
Okay, I need a motion on this item.
Motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Ms. Graham, are you not voting?
Number 15. She's not voting.
Yeah, I know.
You're abstaining?
No, I'm just not suspending the rules.
Oh, she's not suspended. Okay, rules carry, we have to carry it over. Okay, number 16.
Hold on just a minute, let me make my notes.
Huh?
I'm having to write my notes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Item number 16, resolution setting a moratorium on all construction of Bell Road beginning November the 1st, 2023.
Motion to suspend the rules?
All in favor, raise your hand.
If I may, Mr. President, legal has some issues with this particular resolution regarding the moratorium. It's simply as I understand it, it's to moratorium on all construction on Bell Road running from the Troy Highway to Vaughn. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The problem we sense and that we're concerned about is this is a general restriction on construction of roadways and other things. You're involving a lot of people's property interests on either side of the road, and the moratorium itself does not serve what we're concerned with is a defensible, legitimate public interest. We understand the traffic problems that we're having on Bell Road in light of VTW and the road generally speaking, but it's an interference with a lot of property rights and perhaps a lot of other interests that private persons may have, and we don't know that we can defend it on the basis that this is a legitimate public purpose for which we are seeking the moratorium.
Well, what I do, Mr. President, I ask that the council carry this over so I can get with legal. Thank you.
Mr. Mitchell, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
Item 17, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with AUDIT for the widening and resurfacing of Perry Hill Road from Harrison Road to Atlanta Highway.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Is my mic on?
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item number 18, application for an alternative transportation service doing business as Routes for Life Transport Agency.
Representative of Alternative Transportation, please. Yes, sir, your name, sir? Record?
Kenyatta Bowling.
Okay, Mr. Bowling. Council, you got any questions, Mr. Bowling, about this item? If not, I need a motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Good luck with your
Resolution is
business, sir.
adopted.
Thank you, sir.
Item 19, application for an event center rental hall doing business as Just Cause, 4013 Eastern Boulevard.
Representative of the hall, Jesus? Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
Yes, ma'am. Tell us about your event
Tell us your name.
Aisha Day.
and what are you doing with this particular rental hall?
It'll be an event venue for different events, baby showers, gender reveals.
We keep hearing that, and we keep finding people have liquor parties in these places. I guess these baby showers turn into adult parties. Is that correct?
I mean, if it's a gender reveal, it's gonna be a gender reveal. If it's a baby
There's
shower,
going to be some drinking going on, right?
it probably will be.
Do you have a liquor license?
I'm in the process of getting that.
Okay, you have liquor liability?
I'm waiting on you all to say yes, and so I can go ahead and send in my payment and get my policy started.
Okay. Council, you have any questions? Nobody got any questions? No, we had a lot of questions about this earlier.
Say, question for you. So why you didn't do the ABC portion first, then come to the council?
I talked to Stephanie, I think it is, and she told me to get permission from you all before I even go through those steps, because I don't want to pay the payment for the policy for a building that I don't have.
Okay.
I did that earlier for a building, and they denied me for a land variance, and I was out of $2,500.
And can you tell me your hours of operation and your days of operation?
It would depend on the event. Like a baby shower may be 3 to 6 on a Sunday, but a Valentine's Day painting party may be 7 to 10. So my hours it'll depend on the event.
Okay.
All right, any more questions? Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand. Okay.
Unanimous?
What that mean?
Good luck with your business, ma'am. Good luck with your
Sir?
business. It passed. Go ahead. Good
So
luck
that
with your
mean I
business.
can do it?
You can go.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you and thank you.
Make sure you don't make a mess.
Item 20, application for retail beer and retail table wine on premises only, doing business as Bush Ant 1 at 7640 Mobile Highway.
Representative of Busy Ant 1. Yes, sir. Come forward, please. Your name for the record, sir?
Peshwin Patel.
Mr. Patel. Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
Good luck with your
adopted.
business, sir.
Thank you.
Item 21, resolution appointing Janice Hawkins to the Housing Authority.
Need a motion to suspend the rules on the rest of the agenda, please.
Move to suspend the rules on the rest of the agenda.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Motion to adopt.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt on 21. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
I voted no.
You voted no?
No, I'm just playing.
All right, number 22.
Item 22, resolution reappointing Richard Hannon to the Water and Sewer Board.
Need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 23, resolution appointing Ronald James to the Montgomery Clean City Commission.
Need a motion to
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 24, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Need a motion.
Mr. President,
Yes.
move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 25, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Motion to adopt. Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay, you got something on your desk for the council, you have some money? Tips Gate?
We have some proposed resolutions. Mrs. Graham, you want to do? There's a resolution recognizing
sorry.
October the 11th, 2023 as the Jamari Terrell Williams Day.
Well, we need to sign the same one, though?
Well, we just presented it tonight, and then we'll bring it back next week
Okay, good deal, okay,
for everybody to sign.
okay. Go ahead, you ready?
I think most of the council is familiar with, this foundation, what they do, how much work's been put in, and so, we want to just declare this day, this is the day we passed, so. we wanna,
Okay.
You know, make that day special for this foundation and those who support this organization.
Very good. You're supposed to suspend the rules?
No, I'm just presenting.
putting it on
Oh, he's put it on the agenda, okay. Good deal, okay. Anything else?
Yes, sir, I have contingency funds
Okay,
for, Mayor Reed has approved for District 8, 2,000 to Breckenridge Homeowners Association, 2,000 to Carriage Hills Homeowners Association. Mayor, I've received some requests just today, and these are vendors. This is for District 2, 3,000 to Homeview Holistic Community Health, 1,500 to Dalrata Neighborhood Association, 1,500 to Windbrook Dexter Ridge Neighborhood Association, and 1,700 to Deerfield Neighborhood Association. And for District 7, $10,000 to Hope Inspired Ministries, and these are all vendors.
okay.
You okay with these?
Yes. All right, anybody else? Need a motion to adopt?
Sorry, I went to the restroom. Mr. President,
Yeah,
Ms. Brenda, can I add $5,000 to MCOA?
Yes, sir. Is that it?
anybody else? Need a motion?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, ma'am.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Okay,
Mr. President,
yes, sir.
I'd like to make a comment before we move on. And you know, I never held up anybody appointments, and I think it's only right, you know, we don't even question the appointments on these boards. But I think these appointments we just made, and I think they're some fine fellows. I know Mr. Richard Hannon, and I don't know Jamie Hawkins, rather, but, you know, with the incoming council person, Ms. Beard is here, and for us to make those appointments, I just think that's kind of unfair with the incoming council person that was elected by the people.
I think she understood those. She was okay with it, yeah. All right. Mr. Daniel, here to speak to us. Mr. Daniel.